There was a moment, Daniel would later realize, when the air in their apartment changed. Not dramatically, not like in films where a glass shatters or a voice cracks. It was quieter than that. It was the pause before answering a simple question. It was the way Claire placed her phone face down on the table. It was the softness in her laughter that arrived a second too late. They had been married 17 years, long enough to stop narrating their lives to each other, long enough to know that love did not leave loudly. It thinned, stretched, learned how to hide. Daniel noticed first in the mornings. Claire used to move through the kitchen absent-mindedly, barefoot, half asleep, fully hers. Now she woke with intention, showered longer, chose clothes carefully, looked at herself in the mirror as if checking whether she was still visible. He told himself it was nothing. People change, women change. He had read that somewhere. Claire, meanwhile, was carrying a secret that felt heavier with every hour. It sat in her chest when she laughed with Daniel, when she lay beside him at night, when she said his name in the familiar way that had once meant safety. She told herself it had not been planned, that it had grown out of loneliness, out of feeling unseen, that it was not betrayal but a mistake, an echo of something she used to be. The man had a name she avoided thinking too often. Names made things real. What terrified her most was not that Daniel would find out. It was that part of her no longer wanted him to. At dinner, Daniel listened more than he spoke. He asked about her day with the same gentle tone he always used. Claire answered carefully, editing herself in real time. Every sentence felt like a test she might fail. He noticed the editing. At night, when she turned away from him, Daniel stared at the ceiling and felt a pressure behind his ribs he could not name. He told himself he was tired. That work was bleeding into home. That marriage had seasons. But he began to watch. Not suspiciously, quietly, like someone listening for a sound they hope not to hear. Claire felt the watching without understanding it. She felt exposed and invisible at the same time. She tried to be warmer, then pulled back, then resented herself for both. She rehearsed confessions she would never say. It didn't mean anything. It's already over. I still love you. Each sentence sounded false before it reached her lips. Daniel found the receipt by accident. A cafe across town, 2 coffees, 2 desserts, a time when she had told him she was working late. It was a small thing, almost nothing. He folded it carefully and put it back where he found it. That night, Claire slept deeply for the first time in weeks. Daniel lay awake, very still, feeling the slow, undeniable click of something inside him locking into place. He did not cry. He did not ask. He began to remember everything. Silence, Daniel discovered, was not empty. It collected information. He learned the rhythm of Claire's lies, not the words, but the timing. The way she added unnecessary detail when she felt guilty. The way she went quiet when she was relieved. He learned how often her phone vibrated and how rarely she checked it in front of him. He learned that betrayal did not look like passion. It looked like distraction. Claire, on the other hand, was unraveling. The affair had stopped, or at least she told herself it had. She ignored messages, deleted threads. She told herself that choosing Daniel every day now was enough. That effort could erase history. But guilt does not disappear when you starve it. It sharpens. She watched Daniel more closely, searching for signs, anger, coldness, anything, but he remained kind, present, almost gentle in a way that frightened her more than rage would have. At night she imagined him knowing, imagined his voice changing, imagined losing the life they had built. Sometimes she almost confessed just to stop the waiting. Daniel did not confront her because confrontation offered relief, and relief, he felt, was something she did not yet deserve. Instead, he reconstructed the truth patiently. A shared calendar, a credit card statement, a name glimpsed once on her screen. When certainty finally arrived, it did not explode. It settled. He grieved quietly, for the woman he thought he knew, for the version of himself who trusted without question, for a marriage that now existed only as memory. And beneath the grief, something colder formed, not hatred but clarity. Claire noticed the distance then, not physical, emotional. Daniel was still there, but he no longer reached for her without thinking. His affection had become deliberate. She mistook this for forgiveness. She leaned into it, desperate. She cooked more, touched him more, told herself love could be rebuilt if she tried hard enough. What she did not understand was that Daniel was already planning an ending. Not the ending she feared. The ending she would never see coming. Daniel had learned over the years what Claire valued most. Not romance. Not comfort. Control. She needed to be seen as good, as competent, as admired. Her sense of self rested on how others perceived her, at work, among friends, within the carefully curated story of their marriage. So Daniel began there. Quietly he withdrew, not affection but protection. He stopped smoothing over her mistakes, stopped covering small things, stopped correcting assumptions people made about her. At first, Claire felt oddly exposed. Conversations became awkward. Colleagues questioned her more. Friends hesitated in ways they never had. Daniel remained neutral, observant, calm. Then came the dinner. He invited friends, family, people who believed in their marriage. Claire thought it was a gesture of reconciliation. Halfway through the evening, Daniel spoke. Not accusing, not emotional. He spoke about truth, about the cost of silence, about how betrayal fractures not only love but identity. He did not name her. He did not have to. The room changed. Claire felt it before she understood it. The sudden weight of attention, the realization that Daniel was telling their story, but from a place she was no longer part of. Later that night she confronted him. Her voice shook. "You're doing this on purpose." "Yes," he said simply. The word landed harder than any insult. He told her then, not about the affair, but about what came next, about how he would no longer carry the version of her she wanted others to believe in. He was not leaving. He was not forgiving. He was stepping aside. Claire understood finally what she had lost. Not her marriage. Her shield. The weeks that followed were unbearable. Claire tried everything: apologies, tears, anger. She tried rewriting the past, minimizing it, begging for repair. Daniel listened. He always listened. Then he did nothing. He moved through life lighter now, detached, honest. People began to see Claire without Daniel's quiet framing, her defensiveness, her contradictions, her fear. She felt stripped. One evening she asked him, barely whispering, "Is this revenge?" Daniel considered the question. "No," he said, "it's truth." She realized then that she would never again control the narrative of who she was, to him, or to anyone else who mattered. The marriage did not end dramatically. It simply stopped being hers. And years later, when she thought back to the affair, it was not the secrecy that haunted her. It was the calm with which Daniel let her face herself, alone. The question lingered, unanswered. Who in the end had lost more? The one who betrayed love, or the one who learned how to live without illusion?